as we get ourselves on into the draft.
We do. Fearless draft, remember, so everything played in Game 1 is banned for the rest of the series via the immediate ban from BDS, who are on the blue side this time, getting to select their side, having lost Game 1, and Maokai removed by Heretics.
Yeah, I imagine we're still going to see things like the Zyra ban and these kind of things come through just to make sure that you're a little more comfortable. Heretics also respect banned the Nidalee in the last game, so that it may also be something that they are eyeing up on this rotation. But the Ezreal banned away from Flakked. This is something I've noticed a lot. BDS doing is just avoiding the Ezreal. It slipped through several of their drafts, and also they consistently ban it. So, which is surprising because we've seen Ice actually perform very well on the Ezreal, and it is kind of that top tier pick. So I'm surprised to see them continue to forego it, but Neferi also going to be their last ban.
That is Ezreal, their 4th most banned when they're playing on the blue side. Yet to see Ice pick it up at all. So banned in about 30% of their games by them when they're on the blue side. Nidalee ban, again, respected from Heretics towards 113, who is having a storm of a split so far. Where will the final ban go?
Yeah, I think they just need to sometimes put reins on that storm, as we saw in the last game. But Zyra going to be the last ban, so a lot of jungle focus. Is it? Oh, okay, I was going to say, is it going to be the Vi that they immediately go to, but prioritizing the Rumble instead? Because I still think things like the Kai'Sa, like Vi Kai'Sa, Vi Rumble combos are still quite strong. So it may be Sheo going back towards a facilitator here and taking that Vi away from BDS. That could be the best call here.
Well, the Vi's already been banned away.
Oh, it's BDS, sorry.
It has already been taken away from BDS by BDS. But if Vi was available, would be a good pick here. Yeah. I totally agree with you. Aurora going to be the lock, though, for Heretics. You can take that, obviously, top or mid lane, depending on how you're feeling at the time. Wouldn't be surprised if it does go into Kamiloo's hands. Yeah, or it could be an answer to the Rumble, I guess. You can kind of outrange him a little bit in that top lane.
Yeah, it does depend. I think it's got answers on both sides. It's not something that has been particularly successful in the LEC though, so we'll have to see how that goes. Pantheon though going to be making its way into the jungle, so still getting that facilitator and also a global, which I think is going to work out well, because one of the things that I think teams struggle with when it comes to the Aurora is how do we try and utilize that inside lane pressure, because she can be somewhat vulnerable as you try and go for the push, but having that set up then with the Pantheon means you can very much direct your attention towards that Aurora as she's starting to get leads in those side lanes.
So BDS want that AD jungle. Xin Zhao is going to be there. A lot makes sense with an AP top, right? You can also look for an AD mid if you really want. Nuke could play something like the Tristana, the Lucian he brought out last week, but instead it is going to be the Viktor in his hands. So you have enough physical damage from the Xin Zhao, and the Viktor and the Rumble will be providing that magic damage on the rest of the map.
Yeah, I'm curious then, because then you kind of want to take something that's quite AD heavy in that AD carry role, which obviously makes sense, but it's like maybe something like an MF or the Jhin that can come through to kind of be that big burst damage in the AD role, since a lot of players are going to start to transition towards like Merc thread from the top side of the map to make their lives easier. It looks like Kamiloo though is going to take the Yone away now that you have that Aurora, and confirming that Aurora is going to go top side against him.
I mean, that's the expectation. Yone can still be played top. Like there is still a small possibility of flex. We haven't seen Aurora or Yone out of either Kamiloo or Carlsen so far this split. Now we'll see some of those AD carry bans. Jhin, heavy AD, banned away. Wouldn't be surprised at all if Heretics ban out the MF as well that you're talking about. Then you're looking down towards things like Varus is already banned from Fearless, and Draven does it all.
I mean, I don't know if I trust BDS to bring out a Draven in the bottom side, though. It's not something that Ice has gone back towards as well. So I think this is where maybe it's a Xayah that they're going to go towards to try and have that. But again, I think this is where you are going to struggle. I think an MF ban makes sense here, especially when you can go towards something like the Leona or the Alistar still for Parus in that bottom side.
Yeah, with the Braum ban, I'm wondering maybe Ashe Nautilus. Like that's kind of where my mind goes for BDS. Like Nautilus very strong, obviously. It doesn't work well into Braum at all, though. And then Ashe, something that Ice is pretty comfortable on overall. There's the MF ban, so Heretics very much reading your mind, or perhaps, you know, have done some draft prep and said, let's get rid of some of these heavy
it's
champions.
It's all me,
BDS looking for their final ban in this second phase.
Yeah, I think if you are going to go for the Nautilus, the Leona ban makes sense here. And vice versa, if you're going to go for the Leona, I think Nautilus isn't the end of the road either, just try and get rid of. But yeah, I think the only downside to trying to play something like the Ashe is, okay, I was going to say, if you play the Ashe, you aren't doing a huge amount of AD damage, right? And I think then you're kind of fine as Heretics to transition yourself more in towards the Merc threads and the magic resist. So I think you kind of need something that's a bit more of a heavy hitter for BDS on the bottom side. And I do think like the Draven will be great. I just don't think it's a Ice champion, but we'll have to see here.
Yeah, we'll see. As you say, like, Xayah Rakan is still possible, right? If they just want to go down that route as well. So Parus pretty comfortable on the Rakan overall. Did it play a lot down in the ERLs. Nautilus is a lock for Heretics, so they have a lot of pick on this comp, right? You have the Pantheon stun into follow-up from the Nautilus, into Yone jumping in, Aurora jumping in. You have a lot of damage on a single target if you can lock them down. Sivir is something that we have seen from Ice and does give you physical damage as the game goes on. You're just looking at, you know, the 400 CS Sivir power spike that we always talk about.
I think it's also, at least when you have a relatively low engage composition, Sivir can help in speeding up to enable something like an Alistar to engage or put a Leone into position. So it does kind of make sense, but it is, as you say, like the early to mid game, I'm kind of more focused on that magic resist because I don't really think Sivir is going to be doing a huge amount.
Ooh,
and Seraphine for Flakked. I mean, it is a Flakked special. He's brought it out a couple of times, but wasn't something I expected to see in this position.
Yeah, it's when they banned the Senna, I was like, do they think that Flakked is going to go down into his bag of tricks? Because Senna was a bag of tricks champion for Flakked for a while, was very comfortable on it. Seraphine also one of those. Last played it in winter against SK. He's played it a few times across the course of his career, but before winter was back in 23, and then some games at the World Championship back in 2022.
Yeah, it's just in this position, Sivir is going to be able to spell shield you, so she just kind of gets a lot of value against mages on the bottom side, also in team fights, and then you're going to have the ultimate from Xin Zhao to deny a lot of that. The damage follow-up from the ultimate from the Seraphine, and then the Alistar just ulted away too. So I think the value for Seraphine in this draft is a little low into what BDS have brought to the table. So that's why I'm just kind of surprised to see it brought out. But we'll have to see if you're just able to answer for the push from Sivir and then try and play for heals and shields on these big carries in the mid-game. That could be enough to carry this round.
Yeah, I think it is very much a supportive champion here. Also, like, everyone else has a way to burn a spell shield, to burn an unbreakable will, to burn the crescent guard, right? So if they're burnt and then you're encoring, layering on top of it, you're catching them on the second tick, basically, right? So we'll see how well that Seraphine works. It is not something we see too often here in the LEC, but something that Flakked is very experienced on. For Heretics, 1 game away from picking up their second win in spring. For BDS, after losing with a 13.7 thousand gold lead in game 1, they'll be wanting to bounce back strong. Let's get on to the rip.
The redemption for BDS on the cards. Heretics, we're looking for new immediately though.
Flash.
Oof.
Well, you miss 100% of the hooks you don't throw.
And apparently 100% of the hooks you do throw.
So far in this game, Stend. He's got Hex Flash, he'll be happy enough. Not the end of the world for him to burn his Flash early, especially since, as you say, like, are they going to be able to get kills in this bot lane into a Cleanse, Flash, Sivir, and an Alistar?
Yeah.
Only the Alistar really a target for them before 6. After that's going to be very tricky.
Yeah, and I think, look, if you actually got the hook and knew to burn a Flash early, it makes this laning phase significantly easier for Kamiloo. Viktor, renowned for how much of a bully he can be with some of these already AP mid laners taken out of the cards. So just making things easier, but unfortunately not able to land us.
Parus, come on. 4 beats is not enough.
Oh.
Ah, man, like, this is... I was going to use a word that I'm not sure I can use. He's not giving us full satisfaction with the amount of cowbell we are achieving in this bot lane. But it's okay. Both the bot lanes match up against each other. Interestingly, the jungles are pathing in opposite directions. This time, 113 going towards the top side after starting his red. Sheo will start at his Razor Beaks. Actually might go Razor Beaks into a blue clear and back up. Could even look for a level 3 gank towards mid or bot.
Yeah, I'm curious if that's going to be the port of call here. Like, you do have push into Flakked and Stend here. And they do have the ability, I think, at this stage, especially with Parus only being level 1, to try and hold on to some sort of slow push here, but oof.
Miss 100% of the hooks you throw.
Yeah, but like, this is potentially where Sheo can try and put some pressure down. Like, level 2 is about to be hit, so they will end up losing this push, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hit level 2 quick enough here for Flakked to try and cover for the play.
Parus jumps onto Flakked. Stend hooks him after the combo. And Flakked's down to about 210 HP. We'll heal up some of that with a pot. Sheo is in the area, as you say, on his blue currently. Might just come down here to relieve some pressure, let's be honest. The problem is, like, how do you gank an Alistar as Pantheon? You jump on him to stun him and he just headbutts you away.
Exactly, yeah. And also, you're leaving Carlsen a little bit open for play from 113 as well. like he's now going to start moving up towards top. You haven't crashed that wave in top side, so there's a lot of options here for 113, and I think Sheo rightfully kind of says, look, Flakked took too much damage, I'm just going to move back up towards the top side and look to cover for a potential early play from 113, because Irrelevant's doing a good job of just holding this wave in a bad position for Carlsen. We'll slowly push out, but still both junglers here to cover.
Carlsen getting some damage back down with that twofold Hex and the weirding. Nuke trading into Kamiloo with that Hex Tech Rage. You can see it's just a lot of damage going into the melee matchup in the melee into ranged side of the equation. But Kamiloo does get the push in. Nuke will catch the wave and should be able to farm up all of these underneath the tower. Q3 doesn't stop Nuke from getting the cannon minion, which is, you know, it's extra gold. It's always important to be able to farm those cannons.
So I'm just keeping my eyes on both junglers here. So Sheo is, he's just done his red and actually just skipped around 113. There's no ward. So this is perfect timing from Sheo.
Goes round. Is he ganking first? He is. They jump onto Irrelevant immediately. Flash, stun, Irrelevant down, and 113 late to the party. Fashionably so. But unfortunately for him, the party is already over. Sheo's going to keep chasing onto 113 here with Carlsen coming across as well. 113 is going to be forced to flash the wall. Does so. Spear shot connects, but without the fully stacked bar, Sheo doesn't have as much damage as he'd like.
It's a big win for Heretics on this top side. So early pathing from Sheo gets him back up to punish Irrelevant as he's trying to push that wave back out. And also just managing to work around 113 as well. Going to clear out his Raptors as they've just respawned. Will probably go down towards Wolves and then look for the reset, but Sheo going to reset with quite a lot of gold. And the Pantheon with his like early lethality can very quickly do some damage in the lanes.
Yeah, starting off, just get that serrated Dirk and absolutely melt through people. Important to note, Flakked did take the teleport in the bot lane as Nuke is the target once again. Stend hits the hook. Nuke puts down the gravity well and should just be able to walk out of this one. Kamiloo snaps back. It's a reminder on this patch, if you CC the Yone before he jumps back with his Soul Unbound, he'll be CC'd at the end of it as well. You can't use it to cleanse off that CC anymore. CC being crowd control in this position. Parus takes a single tower shot and then tramples his way away. The Ignite was ticking from Stend, perhaps thinking that they could kill off the Alistar, but he was able to move out of there quickly enough.
Yeah, a little whoopsie here and there. Yeah. Okay, a few whoopsies here and there from the supports so far, but I mean, look, you're going to reset his Parus, you're fine. Essentially going to match Stend, but I'm keeping my eyes on Sheo. Cleared out, as we said, that bottom side jungle. Now, I thought he'd move up top, but maybe just pinging on towards Dragon as the push should be able to go back out here on this bottom side for Flakked. So, I will, like, my thought was Sheo may just go his Krugs immediately into another topside gank, especially as you can see Carlsen's about to tick over to level 6, but with the flash available on Irrelevant, may just be happy to start this dragon stacking like we saw in the last game.
Parus is hooked here, does still have the flash, knocks back. Sheo on the chase as well. Parus does have to flash away. Can't get caught with that beat drop, especially if you're already slowed, you'll get CC'd by it. Flakked using the stage presence version, the one that upgrades the abilities to have that double charge.
So we're just going to get straight up objectives on both sides. It's a bit difficult for 113 to try and seek a bit more after this. Like, try and go up towards that top side, look for a dive on towards Carlsen. You don't have the immediate CC, and Aurora can be a little bit of a nuisance when she gets that ultimate down and she's able to pop around underneath the tower. So I think it will just be a case of get your Void Grubs and then try and reset, look for a play elsewhere on the map. But yeah, there you go. Just going to look for. So both junglers relatively happy with how things are gone. Sheo going to move up towards his Krugs now. Won't quite hit 6 off them. We'll need another camp, but that's when he can start to get a little bit more active on the map.
Yeah, Heretics will be happy enough with how this early game's gone. You can see leads in the top lane, leader in the jungle, bot lane and mid. There's small leads for BDS as well. It's overall a relatively even early game from both teams. Kamiloo is now level 6. Stend was spotted on a ward, which he cleared out to provide some safety to his mid lane.
Yeah, it's kind of just both are every lane ping-ponging the waves back and forth. There's not a huge amount to talk about for it. So I think as Heretics, it's just kind of a, hey, this is steady sailing. We've got good scaling when it comes towards both the Yone and the Aurora as the game goes on. So let's just play for these side lanes and hope that we can continue. But I do think you need to start putting not so much pressure on towards Void Grubs, but things like Rift Herald become pretty crucial when you're playing this sort of 1-3-1 with the help of a Pantheon to support those side lanes. in just making sure you get control of the map early.
Oh, 100% agree with you. Like, especially if you can get a couple of kills on the Pantheon, as you say, he can really snowball out of control, just be ganking all over the place. But for the moment, only that first kill, and as you say, all the lanes just ping-ponging back and forth makes it very hard for Sheo to actually find stuff, right? Because the lane's usually under the enemy tower. And for the moment, both of the junglers happy enough just farming through their jungles. 113 did show that in the mid lane, but walks back towards his wolves.
Yeah, Sheo has 6 though, so I think this is where he starts to become a little bit more active, and it kind of gets a bit tough for 113 because you ideally want to get in towards a lane, set up, get a kill somewhere, but even just start the Xin Zhao snowballing. But unfortunately, with the level 6 for the Pantheon, it becomes so difficult with a potential counter gank at any point in time. Sending Sheo sitting around mid, but there's nothing you can really do against Nuke unless he walks into Kamiloo.
Knocked up. Face seal coming out as well. Gravity well down onto Kamiloo, and Parus will kill him off in the CC chain. Kamiloo going in, thinking he had the support of his jungler and his support, but they weren't able to get there in time.
Yeah, Stend is trying to hold the wave, but you've got 3 members of BDS here.
Who cares about holding a wave? Apparently we're just going in. Parus gets the double knockup. 113 coming in from the side, and Stend has an absolute nightmare. Killed off with the crescent guard.
Oh, this is not a pretty look for Stend. The hooks have not been great, and now the flash forward gets him killed. Heretics just keep trying to bite off more than they can chew and end up going down for it.
Yeah, I could see the angle. Flakked was working his way up. It's like, oh, maybe if we can surprise the Alistar before he hits 6, we can go for it. We'll go back to Kamiloo going in here, because he does seal his fate with the fate seal. Yeah,
and then the ultimate is just coming down in on top of it. Doesn't have the ability to dash back or Merc threats completed yet, so it's full duration on the CC, and then Stend. Like, I think, he's hoping to get the auto attack on towards Nuke, then the hook, and potentially Sheo can then flash forward to follow up and they get the kill on towards Nuke, but just shy on the auto. The hook is then blocked by Parus, and especially with 113 in the area as well, it just is an absolute disaster.
Maybe in a flash A move as well. Sometimes those can go a slightly different direction than you're expecting them to. If there's a few targets that you could auto attack, as you say, not quite in range of Nuke, so a little bit disastrous for Heretics in the mid lane. The gold lead now for BDS, only about 400 or so, but the lead that they had in the jungle has evaporated. A Sundered Sky now completed on Sheo. Drake up in a minute and a half, and we've yet to see that first Grand Star fall out of the Pantheon.
Yeah, Heretics keep moving up towards this mid lane with Stend, which is a bit unusual because I just don't feel like there's a huge amount of plays that are available on that mid lane. Maybe just trying to cover for what was Kamiloo when he has started to fall behind in CS. It has now gotten a little bit worse for him with that play towards the mid lane, but it feels like Heretics are kind of just covering for potential plays rather than actually setting themselves up for success. And I think when you've got like this Pantheon, you should be trying to utilize that early pressure to snowball leads for something like the Yone, but they just haven't been able to find this.
Archangel is now complete on Flakked. He TP's back to the mid lane. Parus working his way up here as well as Heretics have started up the grubs. Hook from Stend is going to land. 113 goes in with a crescent guard, immediately diving onto Sheo. TP is coming out as Sheo secures his first grub. Parus though, headbutt pulverize. The death charge will knock him up. There's the encore follow-up. Sheo trying to walk out of this one, but 113 is having none of it. He will get the kill. 3-1 now for BDS. Yes, they don't get all 3 grubs, but they get enough to get those mites.
Yeah, 113 realizing, hey, look, Sheo doesn't have that flash available. If I can get a good chunk now, Parus is able to set up the following of play. We're in a great spot. So Sheo falls. Kamiloo will get some alone time with the bot side turret, trying to alleviate some of that gold lead that had opened up for Nuke, but still, that's a nice little pickup for BDS. 5 grubs now over Heretics.
Carlsen, the only one of Heretics really with an individual lead. Now he's going to have to match up into Nuke, who's in a fine spot. Rod of Age is already at 2 stacks. Might just be a catch the wave and back situation, but Kamiloo is staying around. Parus has done a good job of shadowing his laners, both in mid and bot, to make sure that they're not dying. Heretics will start up the second dragon of the game, though. This was their win con in game 1, stealing away that soul.
Was that their win con, the dragons?
I think they intended it to be so, and they did win the game from the Ocean Soul.
Step 2, fall 14,000 gold. Yep. Step 3, question mark. Yeah.
Step 4, profit. Stend, hex flash forward. They're looking for the damage onto 113, but look at the damage he puts down in response. Parus now in the middle of all of Heretics. Sheo almost falling. The equalizer ticking him. Sheo will survive. Turns his eyes back towards Dragon, gets the smite. Parus now taken out by Heretics. Kamiloo going in. It's a flipping win con, Dagda! I told told you! Never doubt the Heretics! They know exactly what they're doing! They find Fall, they find the Drake! Win is conned!
Team fights are not the friends of BDS. I have not seen BDS have a good team fight this entire series. Heretics set up in the bush, then gets the hook onto 113. They get him chunked down. Parus has a hero attempt to try and buy space on the Sheo, but 113 goes back in straight into the face of Carlsen. The TP is quicker. Nuke is halfway down bloody top lane river as this fight's going on. And Heretics
Ice splash
are just completely cutting them down.
Well.
Vamos! I miss.
I like the Vamos, let's go. Okay, I'm going back to base, guys.
Yeah.
Vamos, go. Oh, okay, I'll retreat for now. But a 1.2k gold lead now for Carlsen, who has been involved in every single kill of the game for his team. He's having a good showing overall. Stend flashing forward, Grand Star Ball, and Parus is caught unawares. Flakked takes the kill. And as soon as I speak about Carlsen being 100% kill participation, he loses that small stat.
Yeah, I didn't really know a cow could be caught with their pants down, but here we are. Heretics. Now
How would they wear trousers? That's the big question.
I am fully of the it goes on the hind legs. That's
okay.
Because how else would they put the belt on?
You don't have to wear a belt to wear trousers. I rarely wear a belt.
Yeah, but if they they need it, maybe I don't know.
Not
They've
true.
lost a little bit of weight. They're trying to slim up, make sure that they're not the ones that are picked off eventually.
Nah, because you want lean meat. So actually, they're trying to gain the weight, right? Yeah.
But Heretics anyway, moving back into position. I do like Heretics have been actually their team fighting this series has been way better than BDS's.
Yeah.
Now their pick composition with this Pantheon is starting to take form as well. So I think BDS in a little bit of trouble. Is Kamiloo gonna just try and clear out the way before Parus can get there, avoiding the CC, and shutting down that play from BDS on the bottom side.
Yeah, one tower shot onto that minion will send it to a early grave.
The problem is, Heretics weren't really doing anything on the rest of the map though.
Yeah.
So you've kind of now just put yourself in a position where you're not going to be covered for. Heretics now trying to transition into covering the play, the TP back in, so at least they will cover. But
Oh, hook immediately onto 113. Nuke is here. 113 with the Crescent Guard, but Sheo there for the follow-up. Well coming out. There's the encore. And Kamiloo wants a little bit more. Dives onto 113, who can't heal up with the Thunder Sky. Ice coming in from the side as well, but Sheo will flash the wall to get away from the On The Hunt. Heretics again find a pick.
yeah, find it onto 113, who was just sitting in the bush.
Kamiloo. Oh, he's fine. All calculated. He did the maths. Because the Stend is hungry for another hook. It's like, guys, okay, we can stop a play at some point.
Yeah, Parus was about to heck flash over that wall as well. It was about to get hectic, but both supports back away. Kamiloo nearly caught out, but now I think he wants to stick around actually for the wave a little bit. Still though, I mean again, nice turnaround from Heretics. Was a little dicey to get the play done, but just 113 in the bush gets caught.
I think the Heretics' motto as a team, this series at least, could be, it was a little dicey.
Yeah.
And I think that would be...
I think that's why we got that clip of Carlsen going.
Yeah.
It's just, you know what? It's the general vibe,
from time to time, you know? Sometimes you gotta roll the dice, see if they come out in your favor. At the moment, they're coming up all sixes for Heretics. 1.6k their gold lead. They have an item completed on Carlsen, one on Kamiloo, one on Flakked. BDS, on the other hand, are scaling. We can't ignore that fact. The Sivir with the Yuntals and the Executioners as well. The Rod of Ages coming out and irrelevant with that Leandry. So, like, as much as BDS have lost the last couple of plays, this isn't all doom and gloom for them.
No, it's just I'm a little nervous for these team fights because you see they're still very spread out. Like, Ice doesn't really have a way to get into this because Flakked is now covering for them. So it's kind of swapping into this 3v4 kind of situation. But yeah, Carlsen hasn't moved down, so it looks like BDS may just about be able to get this.
Oh, Sheo looking for the spear. Not gonna get it. Okay, BDS secure it. There we go. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Equalizer used to clear out the wave. No big shocker there.
Yeah, it's Heretics are kind of again moving to cover rather than to initiate plays, and it has worked for them in a couple of situations, but it does mean in this they didn't really commit towards the Rift Herald. They're not really getting the play on bot side. They're not really getting anything off the plays, and BDS are getting to at least control those topside objectives, and now potential for the Herald in mid.
I think they're trying to rush mid tier 1 because they know they're going to lose top tier 1. for that first tower of the game. But Carlsen is looking for the flank instead. Dragon is up as well, as you say. It was a good spot there. I was thinking more of the feats than I was of the Drakes. Kamiloo on the flank. Carlsen's come across. Hook landing from Stend onto 113. Parus with a good headbutt pulverized. Depth charge coming out though. Crescent guard from 113 is doing a lot of work. Flakked with the encore onto the backline, but Carlsen can't get into the fight. Nor can Sheo. There's a lot of damage from that high note. Kamiloo trying to get away from 113. Flakked there for a little bit of support, but it's Marvel at best. 113 almost falling. Sheo diving back in. 113 going for Flakked. The Sundered Sky healing. Not going to be enough to keep him alive. And now BDS don't have a jungler. And Carlsen is getting chased out by Nuke. But he can go across the veil and dodge away with that invisibility. He'll clear the mid wave with the twofold Hex. In the end, the fight even-ish.
It does mean that BDS can't go towards the Dragon though, and I think for what was a bit of a messy combo from Heretics, it worked out as best they hoped for. Actually, Heretics are going to move over towards Dragon, TP into cover.
But it's only irrelevant. Does have the equalizer. Could look to just chunk out Heretics here to stop them from being able to do this, Drake. But remember, they don't have a jungler, the BDS. He's only up just now. There's the equalizer onto Flakked and Carlsen. Sheo could continue to tank this for a little while, but the Electro Harpoons are doing quite a lot of work. Flash away from the hook by Irrelevant. Ice now in the middle of the fray. Carlsen trying to dodge away. Flakked has to flash. Sheo instead on the wrong side of the wall. Nuke still chasing him in with that Arcane Storm. Headbutt pulverized combination on 2. Sheo dives back in for a bit of CC, but he's shut down. Flakked falls low as well and will be taken out by Nuke. Kamiloo jumping across the wall. Irrelevant 113 now here for the party. Carlsen forced away. Does have the TP if he wants to rejoin the battle. Kamiloo dived into his death. And after a messy first fight, BDS come out on top in the second.
It's just all over the place. So in the first fight, I don't know, look, we'll get a replay of something. I don't know where it's going to go. But the ultimate comes through from Flakked, and Kamiloo completely misses the ultimate follow-up. So it means that then you're not able to get that combo for Heretics in the first fight. In this fight then, you get this great combo from Parus, but look at Nuke. He just flashes over the wall, immediately goes on towards Flakked, and knows that there's just no damage to keep him in check back here, so he chases down Carlsen. Meanwhile, Kamiloo's trying to help out on the other side of the fight, and he's getting completely caught out as well. Like, it's just misstep after misstep from Heretics, and a lot of it coming from, hey, missed coordination as, okay, pick happens.
Yeah, Nuke dies. Good pick there from Sheo and Carlsen in the end. I think Nuke overstaying, looking for that first tower. Carlsen gets the shutdown, which means he's 2,500 gold ahead now.
Yeah, so they do get something back, but yeah, I think Heretics, the team fighting does need to clean up a little bit, and just the coordination on the combos needs to be set up. Stop giggling at me.
That is understatement of the year.
Yeah, look, I'm trying real hard.
Both teams clean up their team fights just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fun games to watch, and the players are still showing some moments of brilliance in the middle of the madness. And you've got to say, Parus here. Thought maybe that blast coming from Stend could take him in. 113. We'll see his tower fall in front of his face. Second tower of the game for Heretics. BDS did manage to get there first, and because of it, I believe they were able to get the boots as well, taking the mid lane tower after that fight. So the second dragon fight around the Infernal Dragon that we had.
The second dragon of the third dragon, yes.
Yes, the second fight of the third dragon, yes. Yes.
In the age of man. But yeah, I think this is a point now where Heretics, they're basically playing on cooldown of Sheo's ultimates. You've got Kamiloo's going to push out a side lane. You've got Stend when it comes towards Carlsen. But ideally, they just want to get control of a side, hope someone overextends, and Sheo jumps onto them with that ultimate. I think you'll see a lot of Heretics 3-man with the Pantheon, Flakked, and Stend in this mid lane to just try and force multiple members of BDS there so they can overload a side lane much quicker than BDS can react.
That makes sense. BDS do have the teleport on Nuke, none on Irrelevant for the time being. Atakan has spawned on the top side of the map. And 2 items apiece across the board, apart from Kamiloo, who is sitting a little bit short, as is Irrelevant. We don't talk about the supports. They're going to have 1 item, basically,
unless
for the rest of the game. Yeah, unless they have Elder Dragon. Yes, then we can talk about them. But I like the Executioners from the Mortal Reminder upgraded for Ice. I think into quite a lot of healing, especially with, Flakked and also Kamiloo doing quite a lot of self-healing. It can work wonders when Sivir can apply it on so many people at once with that ricochet.
Yeah, it does a lot of work in team fights, so makes sense. But to be fair, these team fights haven't really been a full 5v5. It has been very much split skirmishes, which in theory should help out Heretics. Like, a lot of their champions work quite well, where it's, focus down one champion and then move on to the next one, but it has just been a bit chaotic for them. So BDS now, they're kind of in a position where they're hoping, hey, we can continue to scale with this Sivir, with the Viktor, and then just play for these later team fights. So the fact they've managed to get that last dragon, slow the pace of the game down, is going to be a good thing.
Yeah, it just gives them more time to scale. Irrelevant constantly answering the waves in this bot lane, knows he can't play into Carlsen in the 1v1, so just shoves the wave and then backs away. Carlsen catching very high up, trying to draw some more pressure from BDS, but no one is going across there because the tower isn't really under any threat, truly. Kamiloo using his Soul Unbound just to check across the wall. There's a ward up here in the Tribush that Heretics didn't spot the last time they were clearing out and gives BDS a relative degree of safety. But they do know 113 is on the top side, so they will step in, make a brief foray into the jungle, into the river themselves to clear out a little bit of BDS's vision.
The Heretics haven't really got to use their 113 effectively. Kamiloo jumps back, but they're now trying to reposition Carlsen towards his top side, but that opens up for BDS for the 5v5, where they're significantly more happy.
Right, Stend was half HP. Oh, Parus popping the Unbreakable Will there at the start of the fight, thinking he was going to get hooked. Kamiloo trying to dive in, but 113 and Nuke will keep him at bay. Carlsen doing the same, and he is isolated from the rest of Heretics. BDS find 2. They lose nothing for it.
Yeah, it's a swing and a miss for Heretics. BDS now going to move up towards Adakan. Happy to gobble that one up. They can then continuously move down to the bottom side, look for a potential dragon, and Baron is going to spawn in less than a minute's time. So these objectives and these forced 5v5s are now starting to crop up for BDS as they're hitting their power spikes. Whereas for Heretics, they haven't used the Pantheon as well as they needed to on these side lanes.
Haven't really had the opportunity, or haven't really had the impetus to find those picks in those side lanes, as you say. Kamiloo there and Carlsen were looking for the flank, but were unable to find it. Flakked putting the high note down, trying to clear out, as you say, TP to this Drake. Both Kamiloo and Nuke were drawing the fight, the false light, sitting on the shoulders of BDS, so they have that extra little bit of leeway in this next fight. You do still give 200 gold across if you die with it, and it takes you 15 seconds to respawn, but Heretics do not want any of that action for now. They'll give BDS their second dragon of the game and just go back to pushing out these lanes.
Yeah, still BDS can push bot, get that bot terror as well, and not really be in a position to lose. So you're losing dragon, you're losing bot terror, some extra gold going into the hands of key carries here for BDS. So it's a pretty big shift in the power dynamic, because Heretics up until now kind of felt like they've had the tempo and they are the ones that are a bit more in control, but this last fight and the fact that it's kind of the 5v5s have really set them up for success. Heretics then missing that hook means that, again, you're just kind of split. Kamiloo tries to jump in with Carlsen to get on towards the backside for Nuke, but I mean, he's completely fine here. Has the support from 113 to keep him nice and healthy. Especially when you've got this like Rod of Ages, you are so much tankier with this build than traditional Viktor. It makes it so much easier to survive the initial assassination threat.
Yeah, it really does. You'll have so much health generally as a mid laner with the Rod of Ages build. It's one of the reasons that we see so many people going for it. Tend to have a little bit less damage, at least in the early game, but you can actually see Nuke going for Lichbane next for that extra damage output.
A lot more burst heavy as well. And I think that is, like, if you have that one-shot potential here, it works out fantastically because you can burst someone before Flakked can get the shields, before he can get anything else to keep them topped up. But if it ends up coming down to a more sustained and long-term fight, that's where you see Flakked get the value. But Nuke cost
onto Nuke. They're looking for the damage onto him. Base Seal comes out as well. There's the Encore. Only get through the pulse life. Look at the damage back onto Kamiloo. Down to a third HP. Another root's going to land onto 113, but in the end, all you got was Nuke's false life.
But that's the thing. If I'm BDS, I just immediately turn towards Baron. Kamiloo ult, Flakked ult, Stend ult. I mean, everything in the kitchen sink was thrown into that play, so you can really start to take control here, utilize the fact that you didn't actually use too much in the initial plays. You're going to take the top turret first, but I think you try and just force a fight here as BDS.
I agree with that strategy. I will say BDS have not been the most aggressive mid-game team of all, but now they'll look for Stend as they jump across the wall. Parus in the middle of the team right now. Irrelevant's the one who's CC'd up and has to pop the Soulwatch. 113 on his way across as well, but Irrelevant, oh, he flashes just in time, still killed off by Carlsen. A root landing onto Parus as well, and perhaps that's why we haven't seen BDS be so aggressive.
Fight as a group. I needed to, sorry, I did say as a group, and that's my bad.
Yeah,
I need to be more detail focused apparently, and yeah, now you get the picks. Kamiloo going to get bot tier 2, and you've got a ton of control now for Heretics on this top half of the map. But again, this like small mistakes coming in and messing up everything for the BDS. Yeah.
Sometimes you just don't know why it's going wrong, and it feels like that for BDS a little bit in these mid-game fights. We obviously from the outside can say, hey guys, maybe fight as a team around the Baron, but obviously for them, in the heat of the moment, they are making calls to try and find a pick, and they did. They picked off Stend. They just weren't able to take him down, and then Irrelevant was a bit overstepped. Parus was a little bit overstepped. Stend looking for ice here. No, he thought he had Hex Flash. Observers, you can't do that to him. Every support has done that at least once in their lives.
Oh,
okay, you can.
He's having a really
he's 0-2-5. He's had an okay game at times, and then an absolutely diabolical game at other times, my dude.
Oh, the poor lad. Look, this is when you scrape off the memory. You just go back and you're like, yeah, this is the game where you wish you had Severance. This is where you're like, I don't have to remember this.
My innie can deal with this. Your outie remembers they have Hex Flash. Well, Stend doesn't have Flash for the next 5 minutes or so. Does still have that Hex Flash, so has a small ability to make plays. Let's see BDS still setting up vision around here. Stend, oh, wouldn't it be great if you had Flash right now? Could Flash hook Nuke. But Nuke now with the Lich Bane complete is at 3 items. He's very strong, as is Flakked. Can't look past him just because he's on the Seraphine. You can see his wave clear solid. Leandries, Archangels, and the Royal Eyes complete.
The thing is though, so Kamiloo kind of just hovered mid in the hopes that they would get a play, but now you get this push on bot, so you're still not able to really be in a position to contest things. That entire time, Irrelevant moved towards the Dragon, gets the Scuttle Crab for them, so now you got that movement speed buff for BDS at this next big objective fight. Plus he's getting to cover on mid wave as well, which means that now Heretics are going to have to catch this wave much further back because Irrelevant can cover mid, and it's at least opening up BDS to get control over Dragon here, but has these core things mattered this series? No. So we're going to find out who's going to hit the other one harder.
That sounds about right. Who punches better? Who lands their punches? Oh, Stend with the dodge of the first punch. That's the power of Hex Flash, baby.
He wouldn't be able to do that a second time if he had Flash, you know?
Let's see BDS fighting 4-member players strong around the mid lane. Coming across the side. I mean, BDS have the vision at the Drake Pit. Hook from Stend onto 113. Looking for the follow-up here, but they don't have it. Parus will get the kill on his enemy support. Kamiloo jumping in, bait sealed, dashes back, flashes, and Ice puts him in the dirt. 113 flashing forward himself. He'll get stunned up. And 113 almost falling. Parus will take an extra tower shot. He'll go down to Carlsen. Carlsen and Flakked can look for a little bit more here. Nuke, though, still standing strong, basically full HP. The weirding out from Carlsen, and he's going to die to the ticks of Ignite. Not quite. Survives through it. BDS win the fight in the mid lane.
Yeah, Heretics not able to get the combos that they want to. Kamiloo kind of on a one-man mission. Ends up falling on the side, and now BDS a third Dragon to their name. You can see Sheo looking a bit dejected on the player camera there, but hook onto 113. The follow-up is there. Ice again able to block that Seraphine ultimate coming through, but Kamiloo is just left on his lonesome. Heretics can't get into position to really follow. Carlsen not in a position to flank either because they're trying to play through this mid lane. And BDS slowly but surely, they do lose one.
BDS are doing this on vision. It's on vision, but there's no jungler. Sheo unable to get there for the steal. Carlsen looking for it. Stend, he Hex flashed in and then went for the hook, and Carlsen followed him, but now he realizes perhaps this is not where I want to be. Kamiloo looking for that flank as well. 113 with the Crescent guard, Flakked with the encore. Only lands the charm onto one. Okay, it's over, guys. Oh, Kamiloo, man, you're 6/10 of the way to glory. It needs to be 0-10, doesn't it? You can't have one kill already. Well,
yeah, it's a disaster.
Yeah, the Heretics fights in this game have not been as good as their fights were in the last game.
First game was. Our first fight was.
Oh, the first fight was, you're right. The second Dragon of the game. And BDS are punishing them for it. Parus always on that front line alongside 113. Now they continue to push in, looking for the inhibitor here. They'll have the Might spawn to help them tank it. Carlsen trying to put some damage down himself, but can't really find the way in. Goes between worlds with that ultimate. Twofold Hex as well on 113. They'll save the inhibitor for now. Parus diving back in. There's the equalizer as well. Flakked is going to need to heal everyone up, because right now everyone's going pop. There's 2 down already for Heretics. And they can't really find an opening. They overchase. Ice untouched on the backline. At 3 items, the Sivir will rip you to shreds.
Nuke wasn't even there. That was just the 4 people left on BDS, so that's going to be the second inhibitor going down as Heretics overextend. BDS looking to end this here.
But they're only 7,000 gold ahead. Can they close from this sort of position? Well, they've taken the first Nexus tower, now look for the second. Kamiloo jumping in, Ice with a good spell shield will block everything there. The Encore is going to hit him, but Flakked has to flash back to the fountain to survive the onslaught from Nuke and 113. BDS will close out the game and take us to a game 3.
This one's a bit of a Barney. Everyone is sending everything which way they can.